السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. My respected brothers and sisters, may Allah's peace, His guidance, His mercy, His protection, and His forgiveness be with you in this life and the day we all leave here. Remember, we are not here forever. The day when we leave here and the day when we will be taken out of our graves and brought in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to listen to His verdict, and inshallah you will be among those people, those who would receive Allah's forgiveness, His mercy and His protection on that day of judgment, inshallah. Ameen. You and all your loved ones. The purpose of life, my respected brothers and sisters, is not what you have here, but what you are sending forth ahead of you, in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a deposit which you are making in your account, and on day of judgment you will be able to withdraw from your account. Withdraw from your account. So we all need to work. We all need to work in making that deposit. And you can only make that deposit when you are alive, not when you are gone. Okay? In one of the hadith it is said, Al-yawma amal bidun hisab wa ghadan hisab bidun amal. That today is the day when you offer deeds, you make deeds. Okay? Tomorrow, and then nobody is asking for accounts of your deeds. Nobody is asking how much you prayed. Nobody is asking how much the money, charity you have spent. Nobody is asking about your hajj or your fasting. And tomorrow will be the day. Al-yawma amal bidun hisab wa ghadan hisab bidun amal. Tomorrow will be the day when there will be accountability, and the time to do good deeds come to an end that day. So do what you can when we are here. And when you do that, please remember me in your prayers, that may Allah make me what some people might think I am. So we will start this program inshallah today about the first chapter, about the fourth chapter, Surah An-Nisa. Nisa means women, An-Nisa means the women, and which is fourth chapter, and we will talk about the first ayah of that chapter, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim, Ya ayyuhan nasu u'budu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahidatin wa khalaqa minha zawjaha wa batha minhuma rijalan kathiran wa nisa'a wattaqullaha alladhi tasaaluna bihi wal arham inna Allaha kana alaykum raqiba. The closer to the meaning in English language of this ayah of Quran is that, O mankind, be dutiful to your Lord, who created you from one soul, one single soul, and from him he created his mate, and from them both he created many men and many women, and refrain from deliberate disobedience of Allah. Refrain from deliberate disobedience of Allah, through whom both genders, men and women, husband and wife, children and parents, they demand your rights from each other. You demand your rights from each other, and do not cut the relationship of the womb. Wal arham. Arham means the womb, and do not cut off the relationship of the womb. Surely Allah is always watching over you. Whenever you do something, Allah knows about it, good, bad, or ugly, or otherwise. Today, inshallah, we will study the two ayat. The one of them which we cannot finish last week, it is ayah number 235, Surah Al-Baqarah, the second chapter of Quran. First we will have the recitation, then the translation, and then the exegesis, the tafsir of those two ayat, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا جناح عليكم فيما أردتم به من خطبة النساء أو أكننتم في أنفسكم علم الله أنكم ستذكرونهن ولكن لا تواعدوهن سرا إلا أن تقولوا قولا معروفا ولا تعزموا عقدة النكاح حتى يبلغ الكتاب أجله واعلموا أن الله يعلم ما في أنفسكم فاحذروا واعلموا أن الله غفور حليم لا جناح عليكم إن طلقتم النساء ما لم تمسوهن أو تفرضوا لهن فريضا ومتعوهن على الموسع قدره وعلى المقتر قدره متاعا بالمعروف حقا على المحسنين. صدق الله العظيم. Now inshallah the translation of these two ayat in English language. First the ayah number 235. There is no blame on you that you indirectly make a hint to women during their waiting period, or you conceal within yourself. Allah knows that you will think of them, but do not promise them secretly except for saying in a proper manner. And do not promise to make a marriage contract until their decreed period, the waiting period, the iddah period, comes to an end. And know that Allah knows what is in your mind, and so fear Him. And know that Allah is oft forgiving and most merciful. There is no blame on you if you divorce women while you have not consummated the marriage with them, nor their meher was set. The bridal meher is the bridal money, the bridal gift money which a husband gives to his wife. And we will come to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about before the marriage is consummated, divorce and all that. There are those situations which we practice. It will come into exegesis of it. And the bridal money given by the husband to his wife at the time of his marriage. But give them a suitable gift, the rich according to his means, and the poor according to his means. A gift of provision of reasonable amount is a duty of the doer of good deed, means the duty on the believers that they should. The tafsir, the exegesis of this ayah, we will take the first portion of the ayah 235, and then we will talk about the second portion. The first portion is, there is no blame on you that you indirectly make a proposal to women or conceal within yourself. This ayah, my respected brothers and sisters, those who are here and those who watch us on different social medias, this ayah addresses men who want to marry divorced or widowed women to indirectly hint for marriage during their iddah period, during their waiting period, indirectly, just hint. Then it says the Almighty Allah, when He further says that, and there is no sin on you, means to indirectly mentioning marriage to widows or to a woman who is divorced, irrevocable divorce. You know, their irrevocable divorce means that 3 times she has received the divorce. First of all, there is no such thing as 3 divorces at one time. It's a sin in Islam. Sayyidina Umar used to flog people in the market if they have divorced their wives in one setting 3 times. So it is, if somebody has done it, well, that's a mistake, because if he didn't know. And what he does, that he has to expiate from that sin. Either fast for 10 days or feed 10 people of the same food which he eats, which he consumes on himself. He needs to feed 10 poor people. If he has done that, the divorcing somebody in one sitting 3 times. It clarifies, this ayah clarifies that there is no sin of having a decent and genuine, keeping a decent and genuine intention of marrying a divorced or a widowed woman. And it is okay to hint indirectly through her guardian, through some friend, through your sister, through another family who knows her, because she is in idda period. She is in the waiting period after either the third irrevocable divorce or after the death of her husband. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has strictly prohibited men to suggest marriage to women when they are in their waiting period. What is the waiting period for a woman, for a widow? The waiting period for a widow, which we discussed in the ayat of last week and the week before, is 4 months and 10 days. 4 months and 10 nights. Now the waiting period for a 3-time divorced woman, the woman who has received divorce at 3 separate occasions and came to the 3rd divorce, her idda is 3 menstrual period and counting the clean period, the period of purity when she is clean. In those periods, the total 3 menstrual period and the cleaning period in between. So that comes to almost 4 months. It could be less, it could be more. And women know their manners better than men. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created both men and women. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about both genders and how to deal with each other. A desire, having a desire and an intent in your heart and in mind is not an explicit intention that you are definitely going to do it. You are only having a desire. So do not tell them that you are going to marry her, because she is in her waiting period. And on the other hand, the woman those who have received 1 or 2 divorces, 1 divorce at one time or 2 divorces at the same time, or 1 divorce and then after she comes out of her waiting period, 3 menstrual periods, then she gets 2nd divorce. Nobody can make a proposal to that woman, because that woman is still married and she still has a husband. And if he makes a proposal, to her, he cannot force her. He cannot force the woman to come back and get back into the marriage again. If she decides on her own and sees that there is a chance that they can amicably and peacefully get together and watch the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and give each other's rights to each other, okay, then she can decide to go. She has a full right, without pressure or duress, to tell her husband, who has divorced her once or twice, that I don't want to see your face ever again. And she has the right to do that. No community leader, no scholar, no political person with a clout can tell her that you must go because she is nobody's property. Nobody owns her. This is not your car. This is an individual, human, with equity and equality with you, with different roles in life, but she worships the same God. She is created by the same God. She is not lesser than men. So she can decide if she wants to go back after 1st divorce or 2nd divorce, but after 3rd divorce she can't. But husband's mother or father or parents or husband's siblings cannot force her that you must do this because we are telling you. There is no we in it. It's her sole decision. If she feels that they can establish the limits of Allah and they can deal with each other in an honorable, amicable manner with equity and equality, then she decides to go back. That's good. But if she says no, then nobody can force her. Al-Thawri and Shuba and Ibn Jubayr stated that Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu once said that there is no sin if you make a hint of marriage, means saying such as I want to marry and I'm looking for a woman whose qualities are such and such, to her guardian, even if there is an occasion where directly can be said, but don't make a proposal, a firm proposal, because she is still in her waiting period. She can, and saying to her in general terms, but in a respectable and genuine manner. Respectable and genuine manner. Sahih al-Bukhari narrated from Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said that a man genuinely interested in marriage can say, I wish to marry, I desire a wife I wish I could, or say I desire a wife, I wish to have a good wife, and he should not make a direct marriage proposal to a woman or even to her relatives. Because why? Because psychologically, I mean, they start seeing, if the proposal is good, they start seeing light. They start seeing hope. And then something happens. And the guy finds, this is man's nature. And he finds somebody else. And he compares the two, that one is more beautiful, and that one is a bigger car. And he goes for it and forgets about it. All these promises are things which he made to this woman. So it is said, no, you can just hint to her guardians, even through your parents, through your siblings or her siblings, just make a hint and wait, hold it in your heart. If you are so seriously interested, then you should wait. But you should not tell that woman. It is also prohibited that you put a condition to that woman and go that you know me, who I am. I'm so and this and that. And if you and I want you to promise me in the name of Allah that you are not going to marry anybody else but me. Even that is haram. You cannot force your decision on a woman. You can't tell her what she decides to do. It's her decision what she wants. No parent, even her parent cannot say. They can suggest that this is there are 3 proposals, 2 proposals, or this is the only proposal, and he seems to be a good man, we have checked his background. She may even know him from somewhere. But wait till the waiting period is over. Mujahid, Taus, Ikrama, Sayyid ibn Jubair, and Ibrahim al-Nakhai, and Al-Hassan and Qatada radiallahu anhu said, said that it is allowed to mention marriage, a desire to marry indirectly to a widowed or irrevocably divorced woman. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas and some other, and Sayyidina Suddi and Sufyan al-Thawri and Ibn Zayd said that the directly referring marriage, such as saying that I desire someone like you through her guardian, desire directly telling her, it's not acceptable, but through her guardian, the message can be said that I was looking for a wife, I have heard things about her, she's a good woman, she is widowed, or she is divorced, 3 irrevocable divorce, I'll wait for the waiting period. When she is over, ask her opinion, what she thinks, and I am willing to marry her. That's acceptable. That's a good manners. Because Islam is about manners. Manners with each other and manners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How comes we are going to, if somebody is interested in marrying somebody, and make her your life partner, which is in Arabic called Sharikat al-Hayat, that you want to make that person your life partner and you don't make proposal in a respectable manner. It's not part of Islam. Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim mentioned that after Fatima bint Qais got 3 irrevocable divorces, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told her she did not have any guardian. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told her to remain in the house of Ibn Maktoum radiallahu anha and wait for her idda period finishes. He also told her, when your idda finishes, when your period finishes, let me know. So when her period finished, she told Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that, Ya Rasulullah, my waiting period is done, 4 months and 10 days. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, about 4 months. 4 months and 10 days is only in case of death of the husband, in case of widows. So when she came and told Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam about this, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked one of his servants, those servants were the luckiest people on the planet of all times. Because some of them, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that if you want to go somewhere, go. They were free. They were not servant as in slave. No, they were not. So if the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, some of them told them, Rasulullah told them, that if you are free to go, you don't have to be serving me or helping me. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, that freedom is better. That freedom is nothing than being close to you. That his treatment, with his people were so much. Look at Bilal radiallahu anhu. What Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did. Bilal was not a born Muslim. He accepted Islam. You know, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did not discriminate between people that who was a born Muslim and who accepted Islam later. And today we think that only born Muslims have the superiority over the others because they accepted and I'm a Muslim by birth. Well, let me tell you about myself that if I was not a Muslim by birth, I don't know whether looking at all these people around that I would have accepted Islam. We don't know. Those who accepted Islam, they saw the beauty of Islam. And those who were born Muslim, a lot of them don't even know anything about Islam. They accepted Islam. They are not only equal. I envy those brothers and sisters, those who accepted Islam. Why I envy them? Because the day they accepted Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took their book, the old book, and threw it away. And they started a new book of deeds. Their book of deeds is much cleaner than my book of deeds. So we need to understand that. And when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked one of his people, his name was Usama ibn Zayd, and asked him to marry this widowed woman, and he did not say no, and he said yes, ya Rasulullah. He married her. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam arranged their marriage. The genuine interest can be made through words, intention, intimation, using respectful and proper words. In words, he may say something like, this is Tafsir Al-Qur'an says, that I am intending to marry, but not directly and give up, or don't give up hope, or simply show your desire. Because, like I said, if a man changes his mind, why you promise somebody if you are not serious? If you are serious, wait till her term ends. Al-Qur'an says Allah prohibited to propose marriage to a woman who is in her waiting period following a revocable divorce. Because a revocable divorce, nobody can make a proposal to that woman who has been divorced once or twice. Okay? Because there is a chance that she may decide to go back to her husband. Okay? She may choose to go back. But if she says, no, I don't want to go back, and she demands the third divorce, then she will start her 3-menstrual period, and then she can accept any reasonable, appropriate, and likable proposal and marry somebody else. She doesn't have to go back to this man. We have learned after first or second divorce, the woman is supposed to complete her iddah also. That she was divorced once. Okay, suppose she was divorced once. In the last 2 months we have been talking about this divorce and matters related to marriage. Because there are 13 or 14 ayat in Quran. When we come to Surah Talaq, which is Talaq means divorce, when we come to Surah Talaq, which is 65th Surah of Quran, that's one chapter about Talaq only. There is one chapter, Surah Nisa, which is 4th chapter. The women, the name of the surah is the women. That chapter is completely, thoroughly about the rights of women. And the most ignorant of those things, and those who don't like Islam are Muslims because they don't know what Islam is. But those who knows Islam do not practice Islam. This is the problem. We are to be representative. How do you represent? Not because of your dress only, not the length of your beard. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to question anybody about his beard on Day of Judgment. The question will be about our deeds. What did you send forth? No, there will not be any yardstick by measuring anybody's beard. And as far as the Arabic dress and things like that, well, those dresses at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what do you think Abu Jahl's dress was? 3-piece suit? No. He had exactly the same dress as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to dress, or his companion used to dress. As far as beard, Abu Jahl had a longer beard than most of the companions. Read the history. So it is not about our clothes. It's not about, for women, it is when they do the hijab, when they put the head cover on. It is for a lot of very, very beneficial reasons, a lot of great reasons. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when they see you like this, they recognize that you are not like other women, those who are out there. You have, that is a sign of decency for you, and they will not bother you. People with bad intent would know who you are. There is a community behind you, you are not alone. A brother would stop if somebody is bothering a Muslim woman. At the same time, I tell my sisters that look, when you are going to Macy's or JCPenney or Walmart and it doesn't have an automatic door and you have to open the door and you are in hijab and you see behind you 4 or 5 people walking in, hold the door, let them go in. You did the dawah that you are a Muslim who is respecting people, and though it was your turn to go in, you, out of courtesy of being a Muslim, out of courtesy, you hold the door open and let somebody else went in. So there are a lot of things women have, the advantage which women have, and the rewards which women get is much higher in some of the things which men can have. Another example of advantage of women. If a woman is in a marriage where husband comes home, he was fasting, and he comes home hungry, right? He's fasting. He comes home hungry. And she is cooking food. She works at home. She is cooking food. She is allowed to taste, dip her fingertip and taste the food for salt and the spices and things like that. Or food is cooked, not that take the whole gulp and eat it, mouthful. No, touch it and see the taste. So there would not be any problem between husband and wife. Because most of the husband, if there is a little bit more salt or spices, the guy said, you destroy this food, now there is nothing else to eat. So Allah allowed her. But men do not have that. And many other things. Many other things. Like during the menstrual periods, about prayers and about siyam. That is another topic, inshallah, and someday when we come to those ayat, we'll discuss that. As we learned from the tafsir of earlier ayat, that the intent of getting back together, if there was one divorce or 2 divorces between same husband and wife, and the main focus, the intent to get back, is not pressure or duress, is free will of the woman if she wants to get back into it. Second thing is that there have to be an agreement that they would live with peace, respect, and harmony, and equity, and equality, which Allah desires. That's the ayah which I recited at the beginning of the program. The Ya ayyuhan nasu budu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahidatin wa khalaqa minha zawjaha wa batha minhuma rijalan kathiran wa nisaa. If ayah explains that fear Allah, not fear from Allah, that we start hiding from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, fear Allah of your treatment of your women. That how do we treat them? The next part of this ayah, number 235, it says that Allah knows that you will think about them, but do not promise them secretly, except for saying in a proper manner. This means that if you are interested to marry an irrevocably divorced or widowed woman, hold your desire and wishes in your heart. Be respectful to her. Don't hurt her feelings. Don't start going with 50 different houses and start making proposals to 30 different women. If you know the who got divorced, there are five people standing outside trying to make a proposal to her. So understand what people go through psychologically, emotionally, and what she may be. And a lot of physical, because of the psychological impacts, there are a lot of physical impacts on the person. So respect that, respect their privacy. And Allah forbade, completely, totally, prohibited arrangements, any arrangement where a clear statement or intent for marriage is made to a woman who is who is in her waiting period. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly stopped, completely, totally prohibited for anybody to make a clear-cut proposal of marriage to a person who is going through a waiting period. She just lost her husband, or she has just been divorced, and now she has to wait for 3 menstrual cycles and all that, and there are 2 people standing at the door trying to talk to her father. I mean, just respect people's privacy. If you have a desire, hold it in your heart. Set an intent in a nicer manner through some people. The marriage promises are contract made during the iddah period, during the waiting period for women, are Islamically, through Islamic jurisprudence, are null and void, have no legal jurisprudence value in Islamic jurisprudence. Those contracts, those marriages are invalid if they are made during the iddah period. Allah made this indulgence because He knows the desire people have and human weaknesses of likes and dislikes. But you hear about somebody and you start feeling sorry about somebody, and you find out and you saw that woman before, she's a beautiful woman, you like something about her, and you just go and she just got out of divorce or going through waiting period, or she lost her husband, and we go there and make a proposal. And then a few days later we change. So to avoid the possibility of giving somebody hope, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, don't do it. Wait for 40 days. Why 40 days? 4 months and 10 days in case of a widowed woman, and 3 menstrual periods in case of irrevocably divorced woman, is that gives both parties a time to think. Either, does it hold water, this proposal? Who is this person? And you find out about it, 30 different stories. Then come out from one divorce and get into another. So it means that Allah knows whatever we hold secretly in our heart or openly on our tongue. Because there are two situations. There are things which we have in our heart. And we personally don't even know sometimes what we have in our heart. Because we decide things emotionally, situationally we change our standing. That what we want to do with our life or with people, those we are trying to spend our life. So because of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that Allah knows what you hide, what you conceal, and what you reveal. Reveal is what we are saying from our tongue. But what's inside, nobody knows but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the person who has in his heart. Sometimes the influence of friends and family, the mother outlaw and father outlaw, brother and sister outlaws come into play. And then there goes your whole plan, and you have already promised somebody, when you come out, I'm going to marry you. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped it. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that reaching out in secret, that going and meeting that woman through somebody, and meeting alone with her, and she is in her menstrual periods, in her iddah period, in her waiting period, and then promising her secretly. Marriage is not something which is not to be kept secret, because that, to protect women's right, the marriage have to be honored and it has to be announced in people, and there have to be witnesses. You can't secretly marry anybody, because then you are taking her rights away. God forbid you married the person and then 3-4 days later you kick the bucket, you gone, you died. Where are her rights? How is she going to claim that she was your wife and you have properties and she has rights on your property, your cars, your bank accounts, and this and that? How would you handle that if the secret marriages were allowed? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and according to this ayah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the secret marriages are equal to fornication. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, do not marry them secretly, because your secret marriages are nothing but fornication. So don't do it. Sayyidina Ali ibn, there are my respected brothers and sisters, I'm just going off the topic a little bit, and that's why I bring my computer so I stay on the topic and don't slip out. I love changing names, So that there are a lot of people would come and say, I already have 2 wives. Recently somebody asked me that can you perform this marriage? How much do you charge? I said, for all my religious services, all my life, I have never charged a dime. I don't charge nothing. I do nikah ceremonies, but you have to have a license from the county. If you bring me the license from the county and I see it, marriage license, I will do your nikah. What kind of Muslim are you? We are allowed to marry 4 women. I said, why are you not happy with the other 2 that you want a 3rd one? Because this is not a game. Nobody has said, in Quran, it's not mentioned anywhere that you are allowed to have more than 1 wife. When we come to Surah Nisa, because you see, what we are told from the pulpits of our religious places, or when we hear people, we are hearing it because he has a certain dress, maybe Pakistani or maybe Arab dress, and have a long beard. Oh, that guy must be right because look at his beard. It's not about that. Wherever this misconception, misunderstanding came from, that men are allowed to have more than 1 wife, okay, it's 1 ayah. And because what we did, we are good in playing with the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ayat of Quran, astaghfirullah wa billah. In chapter 4th, ayah number 3rd ayah of 4th chapter, the name of the chapter is An-Nisa, the women. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تُقْسِطُوا فِي الْيَتَامَى فَانكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ الْمَثْنَى وَالثُّلَاثَ وَالرُّبَاعَ وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا فَوَاحِدًا. That if you fear the rights of orphans, in khiftum Allah tuqsitu fil yatam, that you will not deal with the orphans with justice, with equity and equality, then you marry the 2nd or 3rd or 4th. This is about why? Because the treatment of orphan. Go read Tafsir. We don't do this. We just take we don't understand the language of Quran. We don't understand the translation of Quran. We don't understand the story behind. There is a story, a true story behind each and every ayah of Quran. And if you look at that, same chapter in ayah 129 tells you that even if you have the full desire to deal with 2 women with equity, no matter how much you try, you won't be able to do it. What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling you? Don't do it. Put all your efforts. Yes, that's one thing that for some reason, even divorce, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that divorce is abghad al-halali in Allahi al-talaq. The most hated halal thing, most hated, permissible, permanent thing to Allah is divorce. Most hated. Allah doesn't like it. Because if you marry to a woman, you may find 1 million faults with her. What about her finding faults in you? If you marry somebody who has something you don't like about that woman, look at something. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَأَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌّ لَكُمْ. Take an ayah of Quran and read another ayah on that topic. It will explain to you completely what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to tell you. You would find some other things in her which you would love. There is nobody that evil. If that was evil, then what happened to you the day you said, yes, I marry you? Why did you? It is not about physical pleasure. It's about equity, equality, peace, justice, harmony, respect, mutual respect. We are going anyway. Sayyidina Abu Talha reported that Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas said that, but do not make a promise of marriage contract with them in secret, means do not say to her, I'm in love with you. Do not tell her that I promise you that if you don't marry me, you will read it in some of the novels and, in the TV dramas, Turkish, Pakistani, this and that if I don't marry that woman, I would never marry, or I will kill myself. You will find that guy smoking cigarette on, 15 years later, he didn't kill himself. And the woman have 4 children from another husband. This is nothing. It's just to get somebody you love and force your will on her. And our culture, we follow culture and we follow rituals. We don't follow Islam, unfortunately. But when you read, wallahi, so many times, I study this 1 hour of program, my respected brothers and sisters, I sometimes have to study 20, 30 hours a week to present 1 hour of program. Sometimes I get shocked when I'm doing research on Quran, and I studied in Mecca. Okay? 20 some years ago. And I don't have to see translation of Quran in any language. I speak, read, and write Arabic. Sometime I'm doing my studies to present this program, and I get shocked. I said, oh my God, I never knew this. When you compare, when you do research, you learn things which will shock you. This life is short to understand Quran and Sunnah 100%. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran in one place says this, that gives all of us hope. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ, that refrain from deliberate disobedience of Allah to the best of your capability. He didn't say that if you come to me with one little sin, I'm going to chop your head off and throw you in hell. No. Allahu waliyul ladina amanu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in another ayah says, Allah is the friend of those who believe. Every believer. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Kulla bani Adam khatta'un wa khayr al-khatta'in at-tawwabun. That every son, every children of Adam, the progeny of Adam make mistake. The best among the progeny of Adam, are those who make mistake but they seek repentance. Repent when you make a mistake. Don't lose hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's not out there to punish you. He has sent you the best of the best. Study it, read it, understand it, and don't just take 100% which you hear anybody saying. Do your own homework. Sayyid ibn Jubair and Ikramah and Abu ad-Duha, Ad-Dahhak and Al-Zuhri and Mujahid and Al-Sufyan al-Thawri said, it is prohibited asking a woman to promise not to marry anybody but you. It's prohibited. She has an independent position, independent mind. She cannot be forced to marry. What happens in Middle East and Pakistan and here and there, that a proposal comes and father comes and says, we have decided to marry you with such and such a woman, or with such and such man, to a woman. And they tell her that my honor is in your hand. And if you don't marry that woman, I'll cut you off from everything. It's haram in Islam. You can't do that. You cannot force a woman to marry somebody. You cannot by force marry a man and put him into another marriage. Well, he'll run away, but in some cases, in some he may marry the best woman on the planet. He will still run away someday. This is the nature of man. Takes things in his hand and thinks that he's always right. So it is prohibited to ask a woman. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the last part of the ayah, and do not promise to make a marriage contract until their decreed period comes to an end, which is, in case of death, 4 months and 10 days, and in case of irrevocable divorce, is 3 menstrual period, and including the cleaning periods in between. So that's kind of the shameful ritual. These are my words, kind of a little bit off the heck, out of whack. But things need to be said. The ummah is in coma. We think that if you don't dress like me, you're not good enough. If you don't look like me, color of your skin is not like me, you must be some backward person or a person who doesn't have any knowledge. And I am there to teach you. There is no such thing in Islam. Example of Bilal. There are hundreds and thousands. There were 140,000 companions when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed his Hajj. And we all know that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed one Hajj. And I can tell you here, in this city, liquor store owners are going for Hajj every year. And donating a section to the masjid and put their plate up there. This section is donated by Mr. So-and-so. I have approached some of them whom I know. And I said, man, you have sealed your fate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is definitely going to punish unless you stop what you are doing and back off and take that plaque and close your business. There are a lot of halal means to earn your money. Do that. They said, you are too harsh. I said, you don't listen. You've been doing this for 20, 25, 30 years. Nobody told you that? Because people are sitting there, give me money and do whatever you do is your business. Just give me money. That's why I do all my things without money. So I'm never hurt, and not hurt physically so far. So I don't know tomorrow. So on a different note, it is strictly prohibited to make proposals to women in their waiting period after a revocable divorce, means one or two divorces. The shameful ritual and custom of our elders in our communities back home, we have brought all that garbage with us wherever we migrate to. And we continue to do it and say, because my uncle used to do that. This happened in my mom's divorce. That's how my father married another woman. It's not what? It's this book. It's this book what it tells you. So it says, shameful ritual and custom of elderly people, so-called political or religious leaders, or powerful people of our community forcing a woman to return to her husband is 1,000,000% against Islam. You can't. I have personally witnessed. I did a mediation, and the imam was there, and the imam told that woman, just have patience. A lot of women get abused. You just have patience, you will go to Jannah. Allahu Akbar. You will go to Jannah. To tell somebody to be patient with this man who doesn't give you your right, you will go to Jannah. I said, what will happen to those who are suggesting this woman to have patience and continue to get abused? Are those people going to go to hellfire or not? Those who marry during that period, a woman, if suppose somebody goes out and marry a woman who was in her period, waiting period, that marriage, according to Islamic jurisprudence, is void, and they should not be allowed to remarry after the waiting period is over. They cannot marry again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that says, وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ, and know that Allah knows what is in your mind, so be watchful of Him. And He is oft forgiving and most merciful. And know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful. Glorious Quran continuously warns us that Almighty Allah, we have about 13 minutes left. So, are you sleeping? Not yet. Okay. So glorious Quran continuously warns us that Almighty Allah knows everything we reveal and also everything we conceal in our hearts. We do something in privacy of our house or our car or wherever we may be. Guess who is out there? Even if you are alone, is there watching. Allah is there watching, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on all of us. It is something, so many ayat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has talked about it. One of the ayat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said is in Surah Al-Qasas, 28th Surah, ayah number 69, same thing. In entire Quran, there is a surah in Quran, Al-Mumtahina. Some women came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam complaining because they were going through some hard time. The first ayah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started from that all of you should know that I know what you are doing and what you are saying and what you are hiding and what you are revealing. So we have to be very careful in those things. The last ayah, the next ayah is ayah number 236. We have about 12 minutes. This is important, it just came to my mind, is in ayah number 284 of Surah Al-Baqarah, which is the longest chapter of Quran. Ayah number 284 tells us, Ba'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Lillahi ma fi as-samawati wa ma fi al-ard, wa in tubdu ma fi anfusikum aw tukhfuhum yuhasibkum billah. فَيَغْفِرُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيُؤَذِّبُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. This is ayah number 284. When this ayah was revealed, let me give you the translation of the ayah. It says, to Almighty Allah belongs everything which is in heavens and on earth and in between, which you know or which you don't know. Which is there, which was there, which will be there. Only Allah knows about it. If you hide something in your chest, conceal it, or if you reveal it to people, or say something else, there comes the definition of munafiq. What is in his heart is different than what's on his tongue. He's a munafiq, hypocrite. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that if you hide something in your, conceal something, or you reveal something, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about it. فَيَغْفِرُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيُعَذِّبُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. So He will forgive whoever He wants, and He will punish whoever He wants. Nobody can tell you that so and so is going to heaven, or so and so is going to hell. Someone came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once and asked him, Ya Rasulullah, how would we know? Look at the manners of Islam. So delicate, wallah, so beautiful example from the life of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That, oh Ya Rasulullah, how would we know a person in this life with us, living with us? How would we know that he is going to go to hell? If you ask some of us, they say, well, those who don't go to masjid, those who don't go to beard, those who don't do hijab. No! Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said something which is so fundamentally beautiful. And He says you would see that people are standing in front of Him, and that man in his pride sitting on a chair. Sitting, and people are standing in respect in front of him. That person is going to go to hell. When we show each other that I'm better than you, I just bought a ticket, just bought a seat in hell. Just thinking that, you nobody, I'm better. I'm from this and this country. I'm from this color. This is my ethnicity. No, it's not about that. It's not about that. When this ayah, my respected brothers and sisters, when this ayah came, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, who was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's closest friend, a Siddiq, Quran talks about him, on some of his desires, some of his thoughts, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent ayat of Quran, revealed ayat to Muhammad because of Sayyidina Abu Bakr question, or Sayyidina Umar question something about, for example, ayat about alcohol. Umar had questioned, and the ayat came about it. Umar had questioned about something, ayat was sent down about his question. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Sayyidina Umar and some other companions came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they said, Ya Rasulullah, this ayah, that everything belongs to Allah, and whatever you conceal in your heart or whatever you reveal, Allah will hold you accountable for that. And then He would punish whoever He wants to, and He will forgive whoever He wants to. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam smiled, and he said that portion of the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that وَإِن تُبْدُوا مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ يُحَاسِبْكُم بِهِ اللَّهُ, that Allah will take an account. Allah will ask you a question about things that you are hiding in your heart. You didn't do that act. You were just thinking about it. It's in your heart. And this ayah says that you will be punished. He says this was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did that for the lot of nations before me. And until and unless you have a bad thought in your heart, okay, but you did not execute that thing in practice, you will not be asked a question about it. Allah knows your weaknesses. You see how much hope Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Quran gives us? That you had a bad thought about something or somebody, or doing some act, but you didn't do it. You will not be held responsible for it. Simply. Because Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Sayyidina Umar, they were from the time, in the day of arrogance, in the day of ignorance, they came from an environment, and we are back into that environment, day of arrogance before Islam. This is how people were as we are today. And unfortunately, and they said that Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said that thoughts come to my mind about something, and I know it is prohibited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I shouldn't. But I try to avoid it, but the thought comes to my mind. So, Am I going to be punished? He said, no. So that portion of the ayah, just that portion of the ayah, is abrogated. It's in Quran, but its orders are not implemented. So we need to understand those differences. We have about 5 minutes left, so let me touch upon the next ayah in a little bit. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that there is no blame on you if you divorce women while you have not consummated the marriage with them, or nor given their bridal gift to them. The marital gift which person gives. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about here? I have heard some people on this topic. First of all, we don't go into Tafsir of Quran because we don't know it. We don't want to talk about it. Because people are busy watching Super Bowl, right? Or will be making arrangements to watch Super Bowl. So, or some other things going on. So, this ayah, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about, that if you have not consummated the marriage or you have not paid the dowry to them, the marriage gift to them, which is supposed to be given to a bride-to-be before consummation of marriage. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about what is called in Arabic khutbah or tafweed. In Turkish, in my language, in Turkish it is called nishan. In Urdu it is called magni. In English it is called engagement. You engage to be married. So marriage is not consummated at that time. You have given some gifts for engagement, but those are not marriage gifts. A woman is entitled to those things. Okay? But something happens and she changed her mind, or the man changed his mind. So he can say that, okay, we are not going to get married. Okay? But there is no waiting period if that engagement gets disconnected because there was no consummation of marriage. And in that case, and these kind of intricate details, if you talk with people, those who talk about on these topics or give their opinions or give long-winded khutbahs on these, majority of them don't go into these details, intricate details to consider that and learn it and then teach it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the situations where there is engagement. But there can also be a situation when there was no gift exchange and marriage was not consummated. But there can be situations where marriage is not consummated, but gifts were given. So this ayah, Quran goes into so much details it will shock you. It says that if you have given even the dowry and marriage have not consummated, the woman has not left her house, her guardian's house, her father's house and started living with her husband, if that has not happened, you cannot take the things which you have given to her. In our culture, we go with a gun to the girl's house and say, whatever we gave you for engagement, return it. There are stories in newspapers. In Pakistan, in Turkey, we are so proud of our ethnicity. We are so proud of our origin. We have no clue what we are doing in rights of women. Second thing, if you have given the full dowry to her and the marriage is not consummated, okay, you can take only up to 50%. Quran talks about exactly same word. Only up to 50% of the dowry which you have given. But the day you say that we are breaking the engagement, you have to give her gifts of what will make her happy. In which she would say, that this was a good proposal and all that, but my heart is not with that man, but I'm not, not going to put all my life on this guy's feet and live like a slave to him, and I don't want to marry him. She can do that. Marriage is not consummated. If it happens in our culture, if an engagement is broken, that woman and her parents have to leave that, not city, that country to save her honor. Otherwise they will destroy her reputation. Do you know why did we cut the engagement off? Because her mother was like this, her uncle did this. We will make so many accusations. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you that if you get out of that marriage contract okay, or the proposal which you are making, or you are doing this engagement arrangement and things like that, if you are backing out from that, give her a gift of something which she can, that will compensate her. You know, there are a lot of expense on women's side also on arranging this marriage. So that those things which you would give her as a gift would compensate her expenses. And you gain her, you know, not emotionally, financially, psychologically, and physically, you're not hurting her. Leave on a good note. The marriage is not consummated. You can't take things which you have given to her as a gift. Do you know there's stories that if there are gifts given, and if for some reason engagement is broken, we'll destroy that woman. We will take all the gifts which we have given. You know, this is not Islam, my respected brothers and sisters. Islam teaches us totally different. I have heard from people explaining that, we have 1 minute left, explaining that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam died, then he told us, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us to be careful of women. To be careful of women. No, he didn't. He said, وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَالنِّسَاء, that you and the women, and I'm warning you for their rights. We don't understand that. We shoot off the hip. You know, and Islam gets the rap of all these things which we do. We have to be very careful. أقول قولي هذا واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Inshallah we'll make dua, and inshallah next week, same place, inshallah, at the same time. We have to be really, really, really careful. We have to know that, you know, Islam is not about so many things which we think it is, and we have to learn it. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب جهنم وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. اللهم إن لك علينا حقوقا كثيرا فيما بيننا وبينك وعلينا حقوقا كثيرا فيما بيننا وبين خلقك. اللهم ما كان لك منها فاغفره لنا وما كان لخلقك فتحمله عنا وأغننا بحلالك عن حرامك وبطاعتك ومعصيتك عمن سواك يا واسع المغفرة. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. والفاتحة.